What's up, Nom Nommers? Long time no see, and happy 2023. That rhymed, and I wasn't really trying to do that. For our first video back this year, I'm going to be doing an extra special recipe. It's one of my own recipes, and it's from my absolute favorite piece of fantasy ever, The Lord of the Rings. We're gonna be making Lembas bread. All right, so this is like my favorite recipe. I've put a ton of work and effort and thought into it. I'm not a baker, so it took a lot of iterations to get it right. So I really hope you enjoy it. And please, if you make it, leave some comments. Let me know what you think, so I can always get better. All right, let's dig in. We are going to start by adding in a half cup of sugar and a half teaspoon of salt to a mixing bowl. Next, you'll add 1.5 packages of active dry yeast and 1 teaspoon of cardamom. I actually used freshly ground cardamom for this bake, which was new for me. I kind of thought the fresh cardamom smelled like Fruit Loops. Anyways, after the cardamom, you'll add 1 cup of flour. Next, you'll need to melt some butter and some milk. In a small saucepan over low heat, melt a half cup of butter into 1 cup of milk. You want to heat this up until it's very warm. It should almost be too hot to touch. Once that's done, slowly mix the liquid ingredients into your dry ingredients using the paddle attachment. Once it's incorporated, increase the speed to medium and mix for about 2 more minutes, occasionally scraping down the sides. Now you're going to add 1 whole egg and an additional cup of flour. Once again, mix on medium speed for about 2 minutes, stopping to occasionally scrape down the bowl. Next, say goodbye to the mixer because the rest you're going to be doing by hand. Mix in 1 cup of flour. Once that's combined, add about 1 more cup. You want to gradually add this last cup so you can get the right consistency. You want a nice, soft dough that isn't too wet. Unfortunately for me, I didn't take my own advice and added a bit too much flour. I was making this batch at my parents' house, and the lack of humidity really impacted the dough and made it hard to work with. Once you finally get the flour incorporated, it's time to knead the dough. While I'm doing that, I thought it would be fun to entertain you with some facts about Lembas bread. Lembas was initially given to the elves by the Valar when they first journeyed to Valinor in the Elder Days. And because it comes from the Valar, aka the gods of Middle-earth, it basically has healing powers somewhat equivalent to actually spending some time in Valinor, also known as the Undying Lands. Lembas bread is also really bad for mortals. It's sort of like the Infinity Stones in the MCU. Unless you're a super, maybe it's not a good idea for you to have one. The only reason Galadriel gives it to the Fellowship is because they were trying to face Middle-earth's top bad guy and needed the boost. I could go on, but it has been about 10 minutes and our dough is done. So it's time to roll it into a lightly greased bowl and let it proof for about an hour. While we wait, we need to finally dice up about a 1/4 cup of candied ginger. I went with the flavors of ginger and cardamom to try and capture the healing power that we just talked about Lembas bread having. I find both of those spices bring a warm feeling to your chest and a smile to your face. Once your dough has roughly doubled in size, go ahead and grease a 9 by 13 inch baking dish. Next, set aside the dish, grab your dough, and add in the ginger. Try to work it in quickly because the last thing you'll want to do is overwork your dough. Now we're going to separate the dough into 12 pieces and shape it into balls. Place each of the balls evenly spaced throughout your baking dish. Cover the dish again and let your dough rise for another hour. Once the dough has doubled again, prepare an egg wash using 1 egg yolk and about 1 tablespoon of water. Brush that over your Lembas bread so that you can get the delicious golden brown color on the outside. Lastly, pop your bread into a 350-degree oven, bake for about 25 minutes, and enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've also uploaded this recipe to my website, and the link is in the description below. And as always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to see more. See you next week.